Hey there, Hushpup here, back with a Roblox devlog, and today we're going to be going over two Gardens vs Graves games. One of them is the obstacle course. This game has been archived for a while now, and the reason for that is just so I can go over it again and make sure there aren't any decals lying around, which is what took down the Tycoon. And thankfully, everything is fine, so I didn't need to do that in the end. But since it's been gone for a while, I thought, you know what, it's a good opportunity to add some interesting things to it. And starting off, we've got a leaderboard. Now, a leaderboard isn't inherently interesting, but it does make the game have a bit more replayability, as you can play it as many times as your heart desires and try and get on the leaderboard for total wins. So that should be released very soon. Second to that, we're working on a speedrun system, which will be showcased later on in the video, as at the time of recording it has not been made yet. Although to add that to this game, we're going to have to completely get rid of the old data storage system. It's not bad, works well, it's very simple, but manually saving and loading when you've got speedrunning as well as total wins could cause some weird conflicts with people being able to load stages and get double wins and stuff, so that's got to go. Gonna have automatic saving and loading, won't be that difficult. We've tested the total wins, right now it does work. We're gonna have to cheat for that though. Okay, here we are in game. Let's just paste this code in. And there we go, we've got to the end. And as you can see, since it's a test account, I think the username's not working, but we got 2 wins. Easy. And we got 2 wins because I've tested this previously. It doesn't give you 2 wins. It's not broken, I promise. Yeah, very simple. This does have a nice visual to go with it, which again we'll show later on in the video. Made by the amazing Radiant Trico, who you've probably seen around the community a lot. The second legacy game to get some treatment is the Tycoon, which was removed recently from the platform. It was content deleted because there were some assets that were in the project file that they didn't like. And I don't know what those were exactly. I think it must have been some sort of decal or audio-based stuff, but it was sitting in server storage, so it wasn't actually playable in the game itself. None of the models constituted to the game being taken down, which is why they're all still here. Technically the game could be put up again tomorrow and there'd be no problems. The assets that were in server storage, when I was working at Roblox, I did put a whole list of different things to be sent off to be deleted. They didn't have a record of that, which means they couldn't reopen the place. Even though I had verbal confirmation from the employees there that it would be taken care of, obviously it wasn't, and it still caused a problem years later. But yeah, that's the reason why it was taken down. Just literally some assets sitting around that people couldn't even see. But since that happened, I thought it would be a good time to actually come in and revamp the game somewhat, change how a few things work, especially because it doesn't need to be tied to the old one anymore. We can go in, do some interesting stuff, and maybe make it more fun to play. Because, let's be honest, it's a very old Tycoon game, and perhaps not the most interesting one to physically play. I mean, it's kind of cool to look at, but there's not much for you to do after you've finished it. And most people that played it, especially YouTubers, they got very initially excited by the prospect of, oh, things might actually happen, but then all you're doing is building like a static diorama of stuff. So that's perhaps not that interesting in 2024. So what we're going to do is, you can see we've already started here, we're going to be pulling apart this house. We no longer need to make it the exact length to fit the checkerboard sized roof, since we can change things up and put things everywhere. We're going to go down here and completely change how the underground area works, make it more interesting as well, and hopefully when it's done it'll be a much more interesting game to play. Unlike the obstacle course, this one will be a much longer process to work on, so you won't see much more of it in this video. Something I've got to be careful on though is that I don't want to spend too long changing this game. One, because people enjoyed it for what it was, and I'm hoping to not completely get rid of what people loved, which is going around and making all the different characters appear on the map and building out your little home. I just want to enhance the experience and make it more interesting, because the home was pretty blank inside as well. The garage was useful for all the upgrades and swords and things and teleports, but the house itself was just stairs to a room with badges, which, yeah, the badge room is nice, but there was just a small little area, and then upstairs, well, there was nothing here. And then it led into that pipe room, which is the way to get to the roof, which was really awkward, which was weirdly the only way to get people through the chimney while keeping it in the correct position. But we don't have to worry about that now with the rebuild. We can do whatever we want. So that's what we're going to do. But yes, I don't want to take too long changing it. One, because of old fans, and two, if I work on it too much, that effort could be put towards making a different Tycoon game, perhaps. And I don't want this to take away from those. But yes, interesting stuff. Alright, we're back in the Obby, and we've imported Radiant Trico's nice leaderboard model he's made. This thing is so much better than this beige block with this grey block on top. So all we need to do is actually just slot this in here. And it fits perfectly, because I sent the measurements across, so thank you very much for remembering those. Group it together. And we can do one of two things. We could actually delete the black part, and just put this one inside, and change the colour. Which I think will do for ease, since it does fit. Or we could have copied and pasted the surface GUI in there. Either way, it works nicely, and we don't need this little sign anymore, since we can just rename the text that he has very kindly put up here. Okay, it doesn't quite fit, but that's okay. With a bit of magic, we can change this. We can fix it. Maybe. Just need to scale this bit in. It's also squishing the text a bit. Okay, pixels per stud. Total wins. Done. Great. And there we go. We also need to set the primary part to the leaderboard part, otherwise it was at a weird 45-degree angle. And that's annoying to work with. And there we go. Lines are nice and aligned with the world. This is also not on the floor. There we go, now it is. Oh, this is clipping through the back. Now, that can just be very easily fixed by making this thinner. Since it was a 10 by 12 by 1 part, it doesn't really need to have any depth here at all, really. And there we go. Done. Probably will go and change the colours of all of the text labels and stuff later. But that already looks 100 times better than what was there before. We're also going to need to have another one as well for the speedrunning stuff, but we will add that later. We already have the leaderboard good to go, but of course we don't have any of the speedrun stuff set up just yet. Alright, as promised, we're back at the obstacle course. As you can see at the top, there's a whole new set of user interface buttons up there, as well as a second global leaderboard, this one called Speedrun Champions. It was kind of just boring naming it Speedrun Leaderboard, so Speedrun Champions it is. This one will be different than the other one. Total wins, bigger number up top. Speedrun Champions, the smaller the number, the better you'll do. I think I need to change this later, though I don't know if I'll do it for launch, where the stat actually displays the time in like a time format, so I'll actually need to customize how this displays. Because right now it's just going to display like a big old number, and that doesn't really mean anything to anyone. I think it'll just display the seconds actually. It's showing the number, like, I don't know, 2,000 seconds. It's not really going to be that interesting for people. But it's good enough for now, and it will hopefully work. It should work. We did have to make a whole bunch of code for the local script to make sure it works. Still need to finish this actually. The last thing to do is to add the gamepad buttons. Roblox did add PlayStation support last year, which is really cool. Do need to use the new getImageForKeyCode method so I can get the actual image for each platform. As previously, all you needed to worry about was Xbox. Now you've got other ones to look at. So yeah, that needs to be finished. Everything else though works quite nicely. Will be good for mobile as well as PC. Did have to make a new main game service so that I could manage the player starting and ending speedruns. Everything is just speedrun related really with this. This one's interesting, the add gear watcher. So the problem with speedruns, you don't want people to use the gravity coil gears, so I had to have this funny gear watcher script that gets added to you if you are currently speedrunning, which down here we will set in the player cache that you are speedrunning. Probably could have made this an attribute instead, but a lot of this stuff was sort of written before attributes existed, and I just used this table that we were already creating as to not waste it. Good to reuse things. So yeah, that one's very interesting. If it detects a gear being added to your character with get descendants, it will just chuck it back to your backpack. Hopefully that works well. It should do. I don't know if I care that much if people cheat. I mean, I'd like if they didn't, but at the end of the day, it's a really old game. And if anyone has any weird stats on the leaderboard, we're just going to remove them. It's going to be easy as that. If you cheat, you're out. So for how it works, we've got a little hide button. Just in case you don't want to see the big ol' start speedrun button up there. I don't know whether I'm going to have this enabled at the start. Maybe I will. It could be something you unlock when you beat the game once, since new players are not really going to care about that, really. But if you press go, it has a little clock. Has the hours, minutes, seconds, milliseconds. Pretty cool. You can also end it if you're not happy, and that will just end the run as it is. And if you start again, it will take you right back to the beginning. Nicely done. You can also restart if you're not happy at any stage, though restarting does take you to the beginning of the game. So you do have to be sure you want to press that. Alright, let's start it and then do a bit of cheating. There is a delay, so you can't spam the buttons. So that is a thing that you do need to be conscious of. So there you go, we cheated. And we got the time of 10 seconds. Wow, how quick. That's something I need to add in the future, is like a pop-up at least to show you everything. For now though, it does freeze the time for 15 seconds that you got and then resets it all. The only other thing that I think isn't working yet is this is not updating straight away. I do need to add that still for launch, but aside from that, it is pretty much done. And if I wait the full 2 minutes, I think it will update the leaderboard eventually. But we're not going to wait for that, because that is boring. But yeah, that's going to be it for the legacy game updates. Be interesting to see if it makes this game more interesting. I don't know if it will. I hope it will. Be nice. And I think the backpack didn't come back, so I need to check the local script again, as well as add the Xbox controls. But not too much to do. It should be ready to go by the end of this week, and by the time you guys see this video, it might already be out. I'm not sure if I'm going to release this before the update or the update after this. Or on the same day, I don't know. You guys will know, because you'll see, but by the time of recording, I don't know. Anyway, gonna leave that here. Exciting things to come. This was a lot of fun. Reliving old memories of this game and adding something cool and new to it. And it's also nice to see the potential of the Tycoon when we bring it back and what it could become. But for now, sadly, it does have to stay in the state of limbo, as the original place is closed and inaccessible. But at least we have this one. Anyway, that's going to be it from me. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.